Hey guys, it's Lego with Lego Vids. Today we're going to be checking out some tips for Guild Wars 2. 15 coming at you. Let's go ahead and get started. First up, we have gathering tools. In this game, everybody can gather everything that's gatherable. There are three types of items you can gather. You can gather plants, wood, and ore. And so to gather those, there are three types of tools that you can get. You can get a sickle, an axe, and a mining pick. You can pick these up from any merchant in the game. And so if they say merchant, odds are they have these tools. So just go to them, they're very cheap, and pick them up. You don't even have to keep them in your bag. In fact, you're forced to equip them to be able to use them. And so on your character sheet, you have 3 slots for these tools exactly. A foraging slot, a logging slot, and a mining slot. So buy them, equip them, and now you can gather. You should gather in this game because gathering grants great experience and it's not going to take up your bag space. Check out tip 2. I'll tell you all about it. Tip 2 coming up. Tip number 2, collectibles. As you gather, you're going to end up with tons of collectibles. Everything you gather is a collectible, and as you kill enemies, you'll get other collectibles as well. And these things are going to take up a ton of bag space. Don't just vendor these. Don't sell them to a vendor. Don't throw them away. You can get rid of them and get them out of your bags very, very easily. First, you can right-click and say Deposit Collectible, and that will deposit it to your bank. In addition to that, if you want to deposit them all, just hit options and deposit all collectibles. But what if there's a collectible you want to keep? Like say for example, I really liked this pearl and I didn't want it removed from my bags right now, but I wanted to get rid of everything else. One thing that you can do is you can go to a merchant after you fall and kill yourself. Now you can go to a merchant and you can sell the item that you want to keep to the merchant. So say this pearl I wanted to keep. So if I sell this to the merchant, I open my bags, my pearl's gone, I can deposit all my collectibles, go back to buy back, and now I can have my pearl again. And so that's kind of a quick way, if you're near a merchant, to get rid of all your collectibles, but keep the ones you may want to hold on to for now.
Goodbye.
Tip number 3. We've been throwing all our collectibles into the bank. But you don't even have to go to the bank to get them. You can actually access your bank at any crafting station. So I'm a leatherworker, so at the leatherworking crafting station, if I open it, by default I just see all the things I can craft. But on these left tabs I can access my bank. So everything in my bank I can access it, I can pull it out, put it back, but I can also access all my collectibles. And so there's a collections tab, so if I wanted to scroll down and pull out some leather and maybe some cloth so I can craft something, I can do that. So you can access your collectibles at any crafting station. This includes a crafting that you don't even know how to do. So I'm a leather worker, but I'm not a tailorer. And so if I come to this tailor crafting station, it'll tell me it's a tailoring station, and I click on it. I don't have anything to craft, but I can still access my bank. So even though I'm not in town, even though there's not a bank here, I happen to find a crafting station, I can still get access to my collectibles and to my bank. Tip number 4. Early on in the game you may decide that you want bigger bags. Now, if you talk to any merchant, most of them will have a 4-slot bag that you can buy. But what if you want a bag bigger than that? Most professions that can create armor can also create some kind of bag. And so if you have like a tailor, or you can do leatherworking or armor smithing, and I'm sure there's some other professions, you can craft an 8-slot bag even with level 1 of that particular crafting profession. If you want to know whether or not the profession can craft bags before learning the profession, all you have to do is talk to their trainer. So this is a master tailor. I can ask them, what can I craft as a tailor? And he'll tell me light armor, inventory bags, and runes. And so now I know if I become a tailor, I'll be able to craft bags. The bags are actually relatively cheap to make, and if you've been depositing all your collectibles into your bank, you can probably make them. So pick up a profession, craft some bags, you can increase your inventory space. Tip 5. Repairing. In Guild Wars 2, every now and then you'll see a repair guy. You might talk to him, and he'll just not give you the option to repair. He's only going to give you the option to repair if you actually need to repair your gear. And in Guild Wars 2, you only need to repair if you actually die. So, if you don't die, you don't need to repair. So, don't bother going to the guy unless you need to. But, if you need to sell some stuff, the guy will normally let you do that too. So just say you'd like to sell a few things, and then you can get rid of some stuff that you don't need. Number 6. When you first pick up the game and you log in, you may try to turn your character and just push forward to run around, or you may just left click and just want to look around. But you quickly will notice that it's very, very slow. You may have to pick up your mouse and move it multiple times to face the direction you want to. You can increase that speed very easily. Just go into options, take this rotation speed, which is probably at the bottom or maybe in the middle, just pump it all the way up to the top, and you'll be able to turn your character much, much easier. Great change. Check it out. In the game, they have this thing where you can actually evade an attack if you double tap in a direction that you want to go. So if I double tap straight left or forward or backwards, it will actually cause me to dodge in that direction. Now it's on a stamina meter, so you can only dodge twice in a row before you're going to have to wait for it to recharge. But you can do that, which is cool. What's not cool is having it happen by accident. And so, since it can happen just by double tapping in a direction, it can actually happen by accident fairly easily. And so if you go into options, you can turn that off. And so you can turn off double tap to evade. Good news is, there's actually a shortcut key that you can push to evade. By default, it's V. If you're standing still and you do it, you'll evade backwards. If you're running and you do it, you'll evade in whatever direction you're running. So, you can turn it off so you don't accidentally evade anymore.
I'm ready to go.
Tip number 8, actually for those rangers out there. When I first started up my ranger, I knew I could train new pets, but I never managed to see them. If you look all the way over here, you see this bear? Right here? I can actually train this guy. He's a juvenile brown bear, but I can't hardly see him. I can see these guys, but I can't see this guy because he's friendly, unless I happen to mouse over him. Something that you can do to make that a lot easier, go into options, check this thing that says show all NPC names, and you'll be able to see him as long as he's on your map. Hope it helps. Tip number 9. Ever need to minimize the game for some reason, but you don't want to die because you can't tell what's going on? Well, if you go into the sound options, you can uncheck an option called mute when Guild Wars 2 is in the background. Then, if you get attacked, you'll be able to hear it. Open the game back up and hopefully save yourself from dying. When you first create your character in Guild Wars 2, you get to decide how you want your character's armor to be dyed. So anytime you get new armor, it'll automatically be dyed, so the color scheme always fits your armor based on how you set it up in the beginning. But you can actually change that at any time throughout the game. All you have to do is open your hero panel, press H to do that, and then there's this icon here that says toggle dye mode. You click on that and you'll have access to all the colors that you had originally when you created your character. Also, you may have found new colors. They're just random drops throughout the game that you can dye your armor with. So just click on the color you want to use, click on the item that you want to dye, and you can actually have brand new color schemes. So maybe I wanted to go with yellow and throw a couple red accents in, and maybe I want to go that way. It looks awfully orange on that. So I can always change it around. Let's see, I think it's this top color that I want. There we go. So maybe that's what I like. I can go with that for a while. When you first start out in the game, you're not going to know how to be able to use all of the weapon skills that are going to be available to your profession. So, for example, when I first started out, I had an axe, but all I could use was ricochet. I couldn't use anything else. So as I used ricochet, I learned how to use split blade, and later on I could use winter's bite, and then when I equipped an offhand, I could learn how to use these skills too. And so over time, as you fight enemies and you get experience to level up, it also gives you experience that automatically applies to the other abilities with that particular weapon set that you're using. And so as you learn how to use that weapon set, you'll unlock all the skills. It doesn't take long, but it's something you can do. But what about the other weapons that you haven't used yet? What skills are even available? And How do you know what weapons that you can even use? Well, if you press H, you can open up your character panel, and then when you go to skills and traits, the first option you'll see up here is called weapon skills. And so you can see what skills that you, or what weapons you can use and what skills you can unlock for each one of the weapons. You can also see whether or not you've unlocked all of the skills. And so if you scroll down and there's a particular weapon you didn't unlock yet, you'll be able to see that. And so maybe I had never used an axe in the offhand and I hadn't unlocked those, which was the case for me a while ago. I would know that I needed to use an offhand axe for a little while so I could learn how to use these skills. That way down the road, if I decided I wanted to use them, I would have them available. I wouldn't need to learn them. So that's how you can check out what skills you can use, what weapons you can use, and what skills will be unlocked for you as you use those particular weapons. Tip number 12. If you've been playing Guild Wars 2, you've definitely noticed that when you're on a map, there are tons of icons. And then on the left side, there's this kind of status of how well you've been doing. So you have hearts, you have which are tasks, you have waypoints, points of interest, skill challenges, and vistas. If you've taken the time to get all of these, it does take a little bit of time because you have to adventure out and you got to figure out how to get to everything. And so usually all of these are pretty easy to get to, but sometimes the points of interest are pretty tough to get to, and the vistas, while you might be able to see them, trying to actually get to them is another thing. But if you do manage to get to every single one, you'll be rewarded with a chest. And that chest is going to have some good items in it, 2 or 3 good items, and then it'll have like some kind of collectible item too that'll be useful to you. So if you're on a map, I highly encourage you, be an adventurer, go out, find all of the little items that you can get here. They're all worth a pretty decent amount of experience, and the rewards from that chest, as long as it's in a zone that's your level, it's going to be really good rewards. So check it out, a lot of fun. 13. As you're leveling up, maybe you'll decide that you want to go to a different zone. Maybe you ran out of quests, or you just ran out of things to do, you want to check out a different scenery, but you want to know where could you actually go and be effective, and what kind of level zone should you go to. And so if you go to your map and you zoom out, you can actually see the level written on the zone. So this is a 25 to 35 zone, and it's white, which means that's a good zone for me to be in. But if I go to a different zone, this is a town, so it's not marked. But say this other leveling zone over here, Kessex Hills, 15 to 25, and it's green, pretty easy for me. You know, it's a lower level zone for me. Same thing for Brisbane Wildlands. But if I go to like Metrica Province, it's only 1 to 15, you know, and so you can actually go around and see the different levels of the zones, so you can decide where you want to go. You can even see zones you've never even been to. So this is the 35 to 15. If I scroll way out, I can go down here to 55 to 65 and 7 to 75. And so there's all these zones that I definitely should not be in yet. But as you can see, the map of Guild Wars is pretty big. Tip 14. When I first started out the game, I was really nervous to jump into PvP because I didn't want to be overwhelmed and not really know what was going on and just thrown into battle before I was ready. Do not worry about that in Guild Wars 2. It does an amazing job of easing you into PvP, giving you tutorials, making sure you're very ready when you go ahead and enter combat. To start out, if you go into structured PvP, which you can get to by pressing H to open up your hero panel, choosing PvP at the bottom, and then choosing Enter Heart of the Mist. I'm in Heart of the Mist right now, so it says Leave the Mist, which is how you can leave if you're done. But if you say Enter Heart of the Mist, you're going to start out in this zone over here that I'm overlooking. I can't actually get back here because this is just a tutorial zone to teach you some basics about PvP, what happens when you die, how to res a player, and other things like that. And so you'll start out over here and you'll do a few little quests and figure out the basics of PvP. So go ahead, start PvP. It is not going to be overwhelming. I showed you how to get to structured PvP. If you want to join World vs. World, you can use this little castle icon up here, or you can press B and just choose Go to World vs. World. When you click on it, you'll have the option to go to one of the 3 realms that are currently battling, or you'll be able to go to Eternal Battlegrounds, which is the area where everybody would fight over that. So, jump in. Guild Wars 2 does a great job of easing you into it. It will not be overwhelming. Give it a shot. Last and final tip, tip number 15, is about traveling the world. The Guild Wars 2 world is massive, and you don't get any mounts so that you can run faster. But what they have are waypoints. And so on your map, you'll see a waypoint that looks like a little diamond. And so once you go there, it'll light up. If there's a waypoint that you haven't been to yet, it'll look like this. It will not be lit up. But you can instantly teleport, no matter where you are, to any other waypoint on the map. But that's not just to the zone that you're already in. If you zoom out the map as far as you want, you can teleport to any waypoint you've ever been to. So even though I am way over here, I can instantly teleport to Radisson, where my quest is located for my personal quest. I can teleport straight here. I pay a very low cost of just 88 copper, and before you know it, I'm in Radisson, ready to do my quest. So there you go, quick travel in Guild Wars 2. I hope you guys have enjoyed the 15 tips I've shared with you today. Until next time, have a good one, have fun in Guild Wars 2, and I encourage you to check it out if you haven't been playing.